You know, they say a single idea can change the world, but the journey from a brilliant concept like, say, fusion energy or a quantum computer to a global reality, wow, it's a brutal one. It's a path that's just filled with obstacles, setbacks, and a ton of pressure. So, what does that journey actually look like? Let's break it down.
So this is the big question, right? And the answer? Well, it's not simple. It's a really complex mix of science, money, politics, and just plain old human nature. It's a journey through what we're calling the innovation gauntlet.
All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to follow an idea from its very first spark of inspiration, trace its development through the challenges of the lab and the halls of power, see what happens when it hits those real-world walls it will inevitably hit, and finally, see what it takes to get to the finish line.
Okay, first things first. You know, big ideas are rarely born in a vacuum. More often than not, they're actually forged in the fire of a major crisis. They come from pure necessity. Just think about green technology. For over a century, oil was king, no question. But in 1973, everything changed. An oil embargo sent these massive shockwaves around the world. Prices went through the roof, and suddenly the search for alternatives wasn't just a good idea, it was about survival. That was the spark.
So, a crisis creates this urgent need. But where did the actual solutions come from? Well, that brings us to the lab, the world of pure research, where scientists and engineers are tackling problems that, let's be honest, most of us would consider absolutely impossible.
And the solutions they're coming up with are, well, they're mind-blowing. Take quantum computing. The best way to think about it is like this. A regular computer tries to solve a super complex maze by trying every single path, one by one. A quantum computer? It can, in a way, explore every single path at the exact same time. I mean, that's the kind of revolutionary leap we're talking about here.
And the potential of these technologies? It's just staggering. Quantum computing could completely change medicine as we know it. Fusion energy promises us limitless clean power, literally harnessing the power of the sun. And solid-state batteries could totally transform how we store and use energy. These aren't just small improvements, they are absolute game changers for humanity.
So we've got these incredible breakthroughs just simmering in the lab. But how do they get out into the real world? Well, they need a really powerful ally, political will. And that means a serious push from policymakers, usually backed by some serious cash. Okay, check out this number, $5 million. Now, in the grand scheme of things, maybe that doesn't sound like a ton of money, but this isn't just any $5 million. This is a targeted, strategic investment by the state of California to specifically supercharge fusion energy research.
And get this, it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. What California is doing here is building an entire ecosystem to support these future technologies. They're passing specific laws for the quantum economy and setting these incredibly ambitious goals, like 100% clean energy by 2045. What that does is create a powerful market demand that literally pulls these innovations right out of the lab. So you've got the science, and you've got the political support. You're unstoppable, right? Not so fast. Welcome to the toughest part of the gauntlet, the real world, where even the greatest ideas hit a wall. A big one.
Take a good look at this number, 95. What could that possibly be? It's not the number of new companies. It's not patents. It's the number of obstacles.
That's right. Researchers found 95 separate, distinct barriers holding back progress in just one area, making our buildings more energy efficient. And we're not talking about inventing new tech here. We're talking about this tangled web of real-world problems.
Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at this chart. That tiny sliver right there, the smallest slice, that's for technical barriers. The technology is often the easy part. The biggest hurdles, they're economic and political. And why is that? Because new tech has to fight against these old entrenched industries with deep pockets and powerful lobbies. It's a classic institutional battle.
This all ties into a super important concept called carbon lock-in. Imagine trying to swim against a really powerful current. Our whole system, our power grids, our laws, our investment habits, it's all set up to flow in one direction, reinforcing the old way of doing things. So new technologies have to fight against that massive inertia just to make any headway at all. So you've got to overcome the economic and political barriers. But there's another crucial piece of the puzzle. You have to win over the public. And that all comes down to finding the right voice and, maybe more importantly, the right message.
So how do you get people to care about a complex crisis? Well, in the climate movement, you see two very different approaches. On one hand, you have these massive, peaceful protests organized by groups like Fridays for Future, and on the other, you have the disruptive, direct actions of Extinction Rebellion. So which one actually works better?
Well, the surprising answer from research is, it depends. What matters most, it turns out, is authenticity. When Extinction Rebellion sounds the alarm with urgent, even scary language, it fits their disruptive style perfectly. And when Fridays for Future talks about hope for the future, it aligns with their more conventional approach. The key is that the message has to match the messenger, for it to feel credible and for people to actually listen.
Okay, so you've got the science, the policy, and the right message. You've almost made it through the gauntlet. Now, it's time for the final sprint to the finish line. Full-scale implementation.
Let's go back to solid-state batteries. They are right on the verge of a major breakthrough. So for the next few years, the mission is crystal clear. It's not about new discoveries in the lab anymore. Nope. It's an industrial marathon focused on 3 things: making them at scale, making sure they're reliable, and, of course, making them affordable. And the race is definitely on. By 2028, we're expecting to see this huge surge in semi-solid-state batteries hitting the market, with the next generation of all solid-state tech right on their heels. This is it. This is what it looks like when a new technology finally starts to pull ahead and win.
So as we've seen, a brilliant idea is really just the starting gun. The real race is building a system, a path that can actually carry that idea all the way across the finish line. The innovation gauntlet is tough, for sure, but for the sake of our future, it's a race we absolutely have to win.